Brought to you by the Odd Pod Squad. Comedy, music, reviews, news, history, current affairs, and much more. See more from the home of all your odd podcasters on Twitter at Odd Pod Squad.
If you like the taste of earthy nature, then Swoosh's selection of Cornish pasties and vegan pies are for you. Yum yum. They're almost passable with a real meaty taste. Hello and welcome to another episode of Never a Straight Answer, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm Gaz and joined in the studio, as always, the time-traversing Taylor.
Yo, you're right, boys. And
yeah, Taylor's in the house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, show them how it's about. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you guys, thank you, thanks, calm down, cheers.
Nice.
So,
Thank you very much.
Hey, welcome
Yeah.
to the show.
Yeah.
How's
We're
it going?
Back again. Yeah.
We was actually got a comment last week saying these guys put out more episodes than The Simpsons.
Well, we try our best.
We're not putting as many out, to be honest. I think we're used to putting out 2 a week, and we've been like having a bit of a break on the extras.
And then issues were technical issues were involved in some of it as well.
In other words, the recording didn't record.
Yeah.
So you just lose heart and ended up going, we didn't do an extra last week.
No.
We'll do one this week for you.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Hey.
There we go. Sorted.
Been quite a chilled out week for me. I took some time off work. It was beautiful. Well, I had a few things I needed to deal with at the beginning, but then I've had a nice chilled couple of days. Nice bank holiday weekend to look forward to. Bank holiday Monday. Don't know why anybody would want to go mooching around on a bank holiday Monday.
Get some out of the house, doesn't it?
Get some out of the house.
Get some out of cleaning.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Most people go on like little jaunts, don't they, on a bank holiday?
Yeah, it's good, and you need the exercise as well. You know what I mean? There's a few fat people around these days. You know what I mean? And they need to walk a little further.
Controversial, but yeah. What they need to do is get one of those Swoosh's vegan pies or pasties. That's
that's an idea.
So we're going to do a bit of a kind of like it's a kind of a theory-based episode this week. I think we're going to be talking about wormholes, time travel, and sort of kind of like possibilities of wormholes existing in nature. Whether, if they do, could we utilise them to traverse time, space?
Only if you've got exotic matter.
Oh, yeah, well, I know a bit about exotic matter myself, but we'll get into all that a little bit later on.
We will. I've had the police all around my area.
Yeah, you were saying, what was that about?
Oh, well, actually, I found out last night that there are 2 cop cars driving around my area.
That's all he gets round his area. He's got 2 cop cars and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Fully armed up police. SO19, I don't think it's SO19 no more, it's Summit 19 now. But a black car and a white car driving around my area.
So what was it about?
I think something's going to kick off and they're just ready and getting prepared. But whoever it is,
they're looking for you,
like
man.
They're armed.
They're looking for you.
That's what I thought.
It's the men in black.
They've
heard the podcast and now they're all like, right, we know he's round here somewhere. We've heard him say.
Suspicions, man. But they were across the road the week before.
They've checked every single gloss-up caravan in the area and he's not in any
Kicking in the
them.
wrong doors, mate. That's right. I know how I'd work from you fuckers. Come and have it if you want it,
You didn't
boys.
check under the caravan now, did you?
Yeah, well...
Hey.
Yeah.
So, what, have you got a bit of news? I've got a fair few bits of news. I've got a bit of entertainment news, some NASA news, and then we've got our topic as well. So we've got a fun-packed episode, as usual. Welcome to any new listeners. We know we've had a fair few people on Twitter say, just subscribed and been starting to listen.
That's brilliant.
So welcome along.
Welcome, one and all.
You'll find that we run quite a loose sort of ship here at Never a Straight Answer. We're all a bit loosey-goosey. So I hope you enjoy our kind of sort of not really bothered attitude. And it's all good. It's all good.
It is. It's all good and heard.
So we're going to move into a bit of the news. There you go. That's it. Sound signifies
that was
the
beautiful.
News, and we've got quite a bit of shit that's gone on in the world this week. So we're going to dive
off this world,
on and off this world. So yeah, without further ado, Taylor, give us your big story of the week.
All right, here's one. Right, 3 more companies have decided to join the race to get to the moon within 2 years.
I didn't realise that there was a race. I thought they were just decided that they were going to go.
No, it's a new
and
space
it
race,
was
man.
the new kind of like jumping off point. Now, like I said, wouldn't it be more beneficial if all these stopped racing and started working together? Because it stands to reason that these guys are probably, coming up with new ways of doing things, and one team might have the better way of doing it than the other, but then the other team has a better way of doing something else that they struggle with, and it's pooling the resources. I thought we were supposed to be a community and trying to have a common goal and trying to leap our sort of species forward. Yeah, why aren't we doing that? Why are we all going, right, well, let's make it a bit of a competition, guys. First one to the moon. First one to the moon wins.
It has been. Google has launched a Lunar X Prize competition.
That was years ago. That was years ago.
Yeah, that was years ago. But 2 of the companies that are on this, which is iSpace and SpaceX, they're actually ones that were involved in that at that time. But after it had gone, like they've had probably not fair bit to do, but so they've gone in for it again. And these companies are starting from scratch.
I know, but what they need to do is kind of just share that information, and so they can kind of
but that's it. They won't share shit.
Well, I've got a couple of stories about that sort of thing this week, so yeah, we can definitely go into. I do totally agree with that. Companies that in multinationals, they don't tend to share. Not very good at playing with others.
No.
So,
and yet the government does it. NASA sends other companies to design certain parts for the space shuttles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if a normal company would not give you all the information, or take shit away from you, why are you going to do it as a government?
Well, no, because a government
agency.
I've said this before. Governments have a duty of care when it comes to telling their citizens what's going on. So,
definitely haven't done a good job
I know
there.
Exactly, but when it comes down to having the your citizens want to know things, then the citizens feel like they've got an obligation to tell them, because they're the government.
Yeah.
And then, whereas a multinational can turn around and say, well, no, this is a trade secret, this is a patent, this is, we don't want to put our inventions out there because people will steal them, and it's industrial espionage and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, as a multinational, you're kind of protected, whereas you don't have to give away your secrets, whereas a government does, because they've always got protesters and people breathing down their necks, because they've got people to answer to, whereas the only people a company's got to answer to is the shareholders, and if they don't want people knowing, then it's kept under wraps.
Yeah, true, I agree with that, and I'm glad you said citizen and not person, to be honest.
Why is that?
Well, under the law, citizen is a free man, and a person is an employee of the country.
Is an employee of the state.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that.
What was that film, actually? That was Enemy of the State, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, totally separate thing. It's just, I heard state and of...
where he got sent to prison and he was killing all the officers and shit. He could do stuff while he was in Nick.
Oh, I don't know which one that was.
I can't remember. I'll have to find that out.
You heard about this story? Do you know, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It was a dog that was born with 6 legs.
Oh, yeah,
Well, now there's a mutant cow's been born with 2 heads in one of them. It's basically one of the most unique cases ever discovered?
To be honest, it's not that unique, to be honest. There's quite a lot of animals that have this trait.
Do you think that this is do you think this has got some sort of connection with like radiation or like environmental things? Because
yeah, possibly.
I know like there's always been kind of like genetic deformities and stuff, but to be honest, it's seen more and more of this.
Yeah, but that's only because we've got the technology now to show it. Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff. I mean, if we had the technology,
we got the technology, we got the power,
we would have already been fucked. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
as it stands, we're just bent over at the minute.
That's true, I suppose. Well, they describe it in the article as a poor calf. Obviously, it's not very kind of nice. I mean, we don't know how that is.
Well, actually,
coping with that. But the poor calf born with two heads has been.
It's a bit of an advantage, isn't it?
What?
Can have double food, Can have two.
Be fighting against its other head to
what's
get
it going to do? Nut it?
Food that it's going to.
Its eyeball.
No, you know what I mean. Like I don't know how these things work, and it's a unique case.
So
we don't know.
It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be poor, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. So, but yeah, it's. Not poor. Yeah, it could be in the thingy sense of the word.
His fucking life, you know what I mean? Going like, way, I can see over here, hasn't it?
Well, it's been photographed and it looks like kind of distraught, lay on the ground.
You mean it kicked it down and went, here, take.
And it had only just been born, to be fair. So the deformed cow was born in the Los Chimagons farm near the town of
which country?
What's this? Halaro. And that's in Argentina.
Oh, right, because I was thinking, I mean, it could be a good omen. You know
well, they said, do you know what?
There's
actually, when I first saw that story, I was expecting it to be that type of story. Do you know where, you know, they say, there's a connection to kind of an old fable or an old sort of like Bible story where, it's what are they called now? It was kind of expected. They were, like a Nostradamus prediction.
Oh yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah.
Just keep it secret from the religious lot, and it should be all right. It'd be able to live its life and not like a king.
Oh,
as soon as they hear about it, it's like, right, we're going to make it a crown or two crowns actually.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to be born with another head. To be honest.
I don't know.
I think like it'd be a bit kind of like frustrating because I don't know like if you've got because like you say if you've got your own sort of wants and needs if you're because to be fair like look at this particular case I know it's a cow but say if it was humans and you've got two heads but you've got one body between you right So your head's going to have its own brain.
Two brains there, mate.
I know, two brains that want totally different things out of life.
But if they're brainy enough, they should realise that they can't.
Well, no one said they were brainy. No one said they were brainy. They've just got to coexist.
True.
Do you know what I mean? They've just got to coexist together. And it's like, if it's not working out, then it's like, what do you do? What if one's going to want to get hench and put on weight, whereas the other one wants a diet?
I'll tell you straight away what's going to happen there. They're going to be lab rat.
Yeah,
straight away.
Well, it's hard to say that now in this day and age. We shouldn't. Well, nobody should be a lab rat in this day and age.
But not necessarily the way you're thinking of, in a lab and stuff like that. But on the side,
I'm talking MK Ultra. That's where I'm going with it. As soon as you say lab experiments, my head goes Stranger Things.
I'm talking stuff like checking the psyche or stuff like that. Not necessarily.
I can imagine that they'd have to go. They would be going through some sort of like
try and work each other's system out and see. There might be an advantage from having to it. You never know. You know what I mean? They might be telepathic. It might be able to telekinesis. Lift up fucking things while the other one's reading your mind.
Yeah, potentially.
Potentially.
I don't know. But like I say, is this stuff linked to environmental issues, or is it a case of that it's just genetics?
I think it's just genetic, but some of it will be environmental, without a doubt.
Well, yeah, I think so because there's already been sort of mutations in the waters around where the
which pollutes are fucking.
Do you know where there was the leak.
Yeah.
On the what are they called now? The power plant. Yeah.
Oh, you're in Japan.
In Japan. So there was the leak around the power plant, and
which
then there was literally
now.
and that spread.
Yeah, that spread like wildfire.
And this is what I was talking to you about. We were talking about this 5G. I was talking to you earlier about we had a conversation off air about 5G, and we were looking. I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about kind of radiation, and how that this woman was advised to take a special bath once a week. To get do you know, just because I think she worked with radiated isotopes and stuff like that. So she was advised to take baths in I can't remember if it was salt water or some sort of compound. Do you know, in the water? To kind of de-radiate her. So I don't know where that's just popped into my head from, but
it popped in.
It just popped in there.
It did.
It's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Just popped in there. If you get the reference, you should do. So, any more news you want to talk about?
Let's stay with space for a moment.
Staying with space? You just we're going to save that for NASA news, or is that not going to be...
All right, then. Okay, I've got one for you, then.
It's all right.
Randy Andy.
Yeah, didn't he used to be like a tool man on one of them home improvement shows?
No, that's what they call it.
Was that Handy Andy? Oh, this is about the
thingy, isn't it?
Or Man Friday on his tropical island.
Yeah. Well, there's a video that's come out, hasn't he, where he's opening a door to 3 girls.
Well, trick-or-treaters? What? It's like carol singers.
It was after Epstein had been done for child trafficking and paedophilia.
Well, this is
in
what
2010
he'd
been let out.
There was going to be some sort of people attached to the comings and goings, and it does kind of remind me of this Nexium thing. Do you know, on a much greater level. You know, whereas this Nexium was kind of using celebrity to procure women. For another guy.
But there's been so many celebrities,
and now all this Epstein stuff's come out, and it's well, is there more to it? Who's involved? Obviously, there's people involved. Now there was I was reading something about the autopsy on Epstein actually, because they were saying that he snapped his neck. But then the autopsies come out and said it was suffocation, which does suggest you could either argue both cases say he hung himself.
I won't know where the video is.
But it's did he do a bad job of that, or was it just a case of that he snapped his neck whilst hanging himself, or did somebody do it, and it was made to look like a suicide, or what? Or was because he was on suicide watch, he got let out of suicide watch. Was he kind of manoeuvred within the prison system to be in the right place at the right time?
His solicitor got him out of the suicide watch.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it was that by his hand. So he's... but that's it. He's got into a position there, but was it a case of that they took advantage of a position that he was in?
He really wanted to die.
Well, maybe,
because he had so much information.
What's the worst thing, isn't it? It's they say, would you rather go out your way or look over your shoulder every 5 minutes, feeling like you're going to you could go any minute? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go out my way.
Don't know, if you want a bit of adrenaline in your life, that's one way of getting it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, totally. You could go... Well, and that is an adrenaline junkie, that if you've got a price on your head for the rest of your life.
If you think about it, we're sort of doing that kind of thing, but edging it.
It's like the people who kind of have... they commit a crime, and it's such a shit crime that they probably only get about a year inside for it.
Yeah.
But then they go on the run. Yeah. And then it's you've made it so much worse for yourself now, because even if you survive on the run for the rest of your life, you'll always have that, I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm technically not a free man. Yeah. Whereas if you go and serve that year, you come out, your conscience is clear, you're off scot-free, and no one's going to look out, you're not getting that feeling of looking over your shoulder every 5 minutes.
You might come out with a sore bottom, but you'll be coming out with you
might,
conscious.
but
I reckon
come out with a B-Tech in woodwork.
Fuck off! They don't train prisoners no more. There's no money for that.
Is he? What? They don't give them a GCSE or nothing.
They haven't got the money. The service has been cut down for fucking years.
Jesus.
All the cutbacks.
Well, there was my educational programme out the window.
Man.
I was thinking if I ever went inside for any reason, I'd get myself a couple of extra qualifications and do myself a BTEC in joinery, plumbing.
Get yourself
a trade
cell on your own where you don't need to talk to any fucker. Even if you
read a comic.
Face. Yeah,
sit down, back against a wall, read a comic.
Go nuts, because otherwise, your battery might get creased.
Fucking hell.
Some knobhead's
cast
gonna
no
try
aspersions
with you.
here.
It don't matter what. You know what I mean? You might get shanked the next night.
Talking about if we're going to keep the tone lowered, even.
Yeah,
got a news story.
Fucking tone.
Got to keep that tone lowered. Got another news story here, which is an anti-sex toilet that will soak the users with a water jet and then sound an alarm. Now, I read this story and I was thinking this toilet was obviously invented by a virgin. Somebody who's not getting much sex or is just like I say, he was a virgin. So this new loo in the Welsh town of Portqual, is that how you say it? Portqual are also delighted with their antisocial behaviour. Oh, they have a kind of an antisocial behaviour.
Well, if you're playing on
sort of problem with vandalism.
Toilets, then
but there's a difference between vandalism and drug taking. Yeah. Now, if you got drug taking and it's like, because obviously...
Yeah, but not done that
people,
about it.
But it's the only way to take cocaine, by all accounts, is to go to a public toilet and snort it off the system.
I know where, people been pissing and shitting all day and, all the germs that are around.
Why are you
it's
doing
like
it
eating
in
a
there?
sandwich in a bog. What the fuck are you doing?
So, you're going in doing this thing, right. Now, if you had water jets on the system... that if they detected anything untoward there, that it just soaked whatever was on there.
How the fuck does he know?
Well, sensors and stuff. It might have like a little drug radar.
Some father might need to change the nappy of the kid, so he's got
there you go.
Him on there.
B-Day.
What the fuck is
quality? It's done half the job.
Well, yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, think about it that way. Yeah, give it a good clean. Yeah.
So this seaside town are planning on installing the public toilets to stop sexual activity.
It's not happened now, then.
Not just yet. It's going to happen by spraying the occupants with water and sounding an alarm.
No,
so that's basically just like, there's some sexy time going on in here.
That's how to spend the public purse. Very well done, you Welsh.
Is that the alarm? If that's the alarm, that's well good.
Yeah.
You go bow, chicka, bow, bow, and then it sprays a load of confetti, and then it's like,
fuck it, throw shit at them.
So this toilet is basically gonna,
just throw shit.
So it's weight sensitive. So if it detects more than one person in there, it'll kind of set. Yeah, you'll start getting sprayed.
What if it's a
but
big
what
person?
If you're a big fella? Yeah. I was gonna say. So you're fucked. You're just gonna get sprayed. I know a few people who go to Wales frequently. So you know what I mean. I might have to set. This is your warning.
That's why there's plenty of fields.
Any violent movement will also set off the water jets. To soak the users, and the alarm will sound automatically, opening the doors.
And you, one way for it.
You get named and changed as well because the doors fly open.
Oh yeah.
So the water jets will also be used to prevent smoking and drug taking. So
I'd like to see if this works. If it works in practice, because I don't think.
Like I say, it's invented by somebody who just doesn't like fun. Not saying like toilets are the best place to do these things, but things happen. Sometimes you think in the heat of the moment, and you find yourself in a nightclub toilet.
But you don't want to be going in the toilet taking a shit, and all you're hearing the next cubicle is what the fuck, and then the bug breaks.
What would you rather have? The alarm go off and a load of backwash come flying over the cubicle?
It'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty funny. So
only if there was a piece of glass in between, so you can see what what's happened. Right. Otherwise, you've got that piece of wood, haven't you?
Crack on, son. What other news stories have you got for us this week?
Oh, G7 started.
G7, today. D23 as well. Go and watch G7's happening. Right, go for it. So, is this Thingy's first G7 as Prime Minister?
Yeah, it is Boris Johnson's. Yeah,
Boris is all excited. He's going to get his suit ironed.
Tomorrow morning he has a nice little meeting with the American president. I found out something about the president today, actually, about his great uncle.
Go on.
Well, you know, JP Morgan.
Yes, I do know this.
Sponsored Tesla.
Yeah.
And also sponsored who's the other guy who did
the other electric bloke.
The other electric bloke, yeah.
Edison.
Edison, yeah. But because Edison wanted to make money and Tesla wanted to do it for free,
yeah.
JP Morgan stopped the funding.
Yeah, of course he did, yeah.
But where did he get his funding afterwards?
Oh, he didn't.
Trump.
Trump funded it.
Yeah, Trump funded it.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Before he died, and the
show
FBI
me
went
the
in and
evidence.
took all the
if that's true, we'll do a whole episode on it. If that is evidence on that, we'll do a full episode on it. We'll call it JP Morgan and the Big Light Switch Swizzle. I don't know. We'll make some up. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, there was actually something. What was that? They would actually kind of made me think, and I thought I'd bring it up as well. What's that? Do you know hipsters? Yeah, in gentrified areas. Yeah. Right. Have you noticed that they all use those really non-energy saving low light Edison bulbs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to make the place look like sort of oldie worldy and stuff. Those bulbs are really energy inefficient. So stop going for style. Yeah. And these are the people who claim to care. So sort it out.
Fuck all.
Sort your lives out.
Yeah. If you can.
If you can. Right, have you got any more news?
Just NASA's.
Just NASA. Well, yeah, we'll crack on with NASA news, and then I've got a bit of entertainment news, and that leads us nicely into the main topic, I think.
It does.
Sweet.
It does nicely.
So go for it, because I've got 2 bits of NASA news, but I think one of them is the same as yours. So, stuff to talk about, I suppose.
Yeah. NASA's going to have its first criminal investigation in space.
Call the Space Police. Yeah, this is the story I've got, man. The Space Police. What the fuck? What was the crime? Right. Jaywalking, littering.
No, pissing outside the spaceport.
Wait a minute. Have they written them up a ticket? Are they trying to claim monies?
Fraud. Right. Basically, a woman called Anne McLean.
John McClane's mum.
Yeah. Accessed her ex-partner's bank account.
Right, and then changed it
from the ISS.
Said he lived on the moon.
Well, no, she basically hacked in there, and she said it's all innocent. I wanted to make sure that she had money and that there was no issues with any kind of money with her son and that. So
why has it got anything to do with her anyway?
Well,
to the point where she's going to hack into bank accounts.
This is why
it's a bit extreme.
Investigation into it, and it's the first one. And it's going to be pretty hard, this, because you can't. The law says certain things, but they might be able to get away with stuff out there as well, because it has never been tested before. So a lawyer could come across and go, boom, actually, you can't do this.
Is this a job for Trump's Space Force, then? Have they been sent out for an intergalactic tete-a-tete?
No, Federal Trade...
Pardon me?
Federal Trade involved, because they had a complaint by...
Is that not out of their jurisdiction?
No.
Okay.
No. They're the ones to go and see.
Well, it didn't happen in space, though, did it?
Yeah.
Well, how?
She hacked in space.
Right.
She went to the ISS, got on one of the computers and went, ooh, let's check their finance, see if they're all right.
Oh, fucking hell.
Hacked into ex-partner.
From the ISS, that is one reason to go up, I suppose. It's like they've done all this training. Do you know what? Fuck it, let's do a bit of splurging on my ex.
I reckon that can happen anywhere.
It's lonely in space. Maybe they needed just a bit of kind of company.
About 6 other people there, if not.
No, you know what I mean. But they're colleagues. They're potentially they're not. You might only have one friend up there, if that. And what if you're the annoying one that nobody really likes, and you're up there for fucking months,
sat in the corner with your finger in your mouth?
Fucking hell, this is the most dull fucking. And mate, yeah, I'm not casting aspersions on scientists or anything, but other than sciencey stuff,
Yeah.
What are they going to be talking about?
Life. Space.
Yeah, I know, boy. It's like, all right then. So
what
you might just be like, I'm bored of this now.
Well, you took the fucking job.
Of course you took the job. All right, then you took the
what
job. You knew what was coming, but you didn't. You don't know what your colleagues are going to be like until you're working with them.
They could be twats, but
And then you've got 6 months to a year up on the ISS. You're a bit lonely, so you go on your ex-partner's Facebook, or hack into their bank account to find out
how much money
what they've been spending the money on.
Yeah.
I wonder if they sold that story to the newspapers or whatever. They might have.
Probably.
I'll check the bank account and see what's.
I know she spoke to one newspaper and
she can't be that guilty of that. She can't give her that much shit.
Well, it's going to be the first case, isn't it? But hey, it could make her a superstar, you know.
Yeah, of course. Call the space police.
Yeah, don't fuck with me. I fuck law in space. Never mind down here.
Fuck you. I was the first person to get arrested on an intergalactic charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one to be the alien.
Go down in history.
Yeah, it's the first alien now we've got to wait for.
So, yeah, good story. Good story. That I like that. So yeah, if you think that these people out there who are going to get worse crimes in space at some point, right. But first one, can't. You know what I mean?
It is
branching out. Humanity. The criminality of humanity is branching out.
Yeah, we get everywhere.
We're getting everywhere.
Dirty and
so
everything.
Nevada. Oh, so right. Nevada town. The town near Nevada, Area 51.
Yeah.
More than 2 million Facebook users have said that they were going to plan to storm Area 51. I think we said it was more than 3 million at this point.
Yeah.
And 20 business owners nearby Rachel, Nevada, are scrambling to find enough portable toilets. Talking about toilets, because they think if 200 or even half of the people show up, then it's still going to be a lot. Yeah, it's because it's a desert. Go for a piss in the desert.
The animals would be glad of the fucking water in there.
Oh, no, it's not the right water, though, is it? To be honest, you can't drink that water.
Hey, just because you don't want to drink it, an animal will.
You can't. It's not right. It's not normal. You can't drink that.
What do you
mean? Anyway, Rachel.
Rachel's
the owner. Rachel is the area where this is all going to take place. And we covered a story last week about how they were saying it's going to attract criminality. It's going to attract,
busy roads.
Too many people for a small town like them to handle. So, just we're saying have a bit of respect if you do attend, which is coming up 20th of September.
Yeah.
We'll be covering it. We won't be there, unfortunately, unless anyone wants to fly us out there, and we'll cover it live.
Yeah.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Keep me away from the massacre. Yeah. That's all I'll say.
I'll tell you what, I ain't crossing that line on the first.
Other than that, we'll probably be watching it on some sort of stream at some point. I'm sure somebody will do that.
Plenty of people are going to film that.
Residents of Rachel, 150 mile, which is 240 kilometre drive from Las Vegas. It's home to roughly 50 people.
It's never been so busy.
50 people. Now they're basically just just waiting on large crowds to overwhelm the town.
Bullshit, they're going to be bringing in fucking shit to sell.
Well, they've got no gas station or a grocery store.
There you go, gas.
They've got no gas, they've got no grocery store, they've got nothing. So basically they've got 50 people on town, right? And this festival, dubbed Alien Stock, is going to happen. Even they reckon, they think that based on the popularity of the Facebook, that around about 30,000 people will arrive.
More than that.
I reckon it's going to be more than that, to be honest.
If even the people who ain't signed up, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to go.
Yeah, we go bring a friend. Yeah, like how many people they go, I've signed up for this thing, do you fancy it?
Yeah.
And they could bring 5 people, so you never know how many people are going to turn up to these things.
I'd just go down there just to see if any fucker does go across there, and I'll go, whoa! I knew they'd fucking cap him.
Like everything else on Never Straight Answer, we'll be covering that, and we'll be kind of keeping an eye out on the Epstein thing, and as well as the Area 51 storm. And plenty of news coming up, I'm pretty sure. So what if I got some entertainment news? Got quite a bit. It's been quite an entertaining week because I've had quite a bit of a week off. So I've got quite a lot of stuff we can talk about. Let me just find.
Talk about.
We can talk about it.
Oh, go on then.
So right, okay. So I don't know if you've heard this, but do you know Marvel? Obviously, do you know Marvel did this deal with Sony to get Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Spider-Man wasn't part of the MCU, and then he was, and it was all thanks to Sony doing a deal with him, saying that you can use it now. Back in the day, Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man because Marvel were actually, before they were making movies, they were a comic book house and they weren't doing very well. So they sold a lot of the rights for peanuts. Yeah. One of which was Spider-Man. Sony snapped it up, but with the they could only do so much with it. And every time they did a retelling of the story, they had to include the Uncle Ben thing. They had to kind of do the very standard origin story.
It gets boring after a while.
It gets boring. So it was kind of a breath of fresh air when Marvel took it.
Yeah.
Now, Sony this week have turned around and said, we want it back, right? Spider-Man's no longer going to be a part of the MCU. They're going to use Spider-Man in their own sort of, their own Spider-Verse, I should imagine, using Spider-Man characters and making it their own thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Sony have just been fucked by who was it now? Disney.
No, this is Disney-owned Marvel. So.
Yeah, but there's a problem between Disney and Sony to do with one of the characters who might not even ever turn out.
This is Spider-Man. It's all about Spider-Man, right? It's what they're saying is now, right? Spider-Man has made Sony, billions, right? It was Sony's biggest film ever, and they didn't even make it. All they did was sat back and go, thanks, right?
Sucking the profits.
So the deal was with Sony and Marvel that Marvel made the films, it was part of their cinematic universe.
Yeah.
They got 5%, right, of the money, right?
Right, okay.
Whereas Sony sat back with 95%, right? Bargain. Right, for letting me use one of your toys. That's like me saying, can I borrow one of your toys or a game?
Yeah, but if they've agreed to it, then
they've
why
agreed
are they
to
going
it?
back on the agreement?
They've done two films and made them a lot of money, right? It's come to the point where they were renegotiating the contract, right? So they could have carried on with the contract as is, right? Which Sony would have been perfectly happy to do, I imagine. Yeah, whereas Marvel
I want more money now.
Well, Marvel are like, well, come on, we've give you a big slice of the pie this far.
5%, big slice, fucking
hell. No. Sony, that's what Disney kept, and Disney made the film.
Yeah.
They had 5%, right?
Disney got 5%.
Yeah, Disney got 5%, Sony got 95%.
Oh, right, okay.
Right?
Okay,
they didn't do anything,
yeah,
right? Disney made the film and put it out and made the money, right?
But they signed the contract, so
they've gone for renegotiations and they've said, can we renegotiate? We want 50%.
Who wants 50%?
Disney.
Yeah, right,
Disney have asked for 50% and Sony have gone, no. We're taking it back. Yeah, right.
Fair enough.
Now, really, it's a bit of a fucking thing because what Sony are never going to do anything as good with Spider-Man as what Marvel have done, and even if they try and reboot it or they bring Tom Holland over, then it's going to still be a bit kind of like.
Yeah, but that's what companies do. They fuck each other over.
Yeah, well, I think there's a big petition on all over the place saying save Spider-Man from, and there's been loads of Uncle Ben memes and stuff saying, are we going to get Uncle Ben again now? Because, obviously they've got nothing to work with.
No, I got to agree with Sony, to be honest.
I do actually agree with Sony in a lot of ways.
Exactly
I feel like, on a business standpoint, you'd go.
Yeah, it's not personal.
Well, no, it's nothing personal. But then what I'd say is, if Marvel were to come back and Disney was to come back with a more sort of reasonable offer, where they said, "All right, then it's 5% we've been getting, so 25%, give us a 25% stake. You're still walking away with 75% of the takings, which is a stupid amount of money." Yeah, Marvel are getting their investment back, right? Because they're spending money making these films. It cost a few $100 million to make.
Yeah, easy.
So it's like if they can make a bit of that money back as well as a bit of a profit, then good for them.
Well, that's what
right.
they're there for.
So what they need to do is go back to the negotiation table and try and work something out. And
don't be so greedy. Go for 15% first, not
25. 15. No, I'd say 25, and then when they say no, then you drop to 15 and go, all right, this is my final offer, 20, and I'd still be tempted to go 22.
Yeah, but you got to think of how many billions, like you said, that they've made over a couple of years it that they're going to lose if they they've lost it now. You know what I mean? They could have had a couple of more billion over the
True.
next couple of years, but now they've lost that
but
shit.
on the flip side, Marvel could have done something super amazing with Spider-Man, they could only dream of, and then like it could have made them stupid amounts of money. But
but Sony's doing the Trump and being greedy, man, and going like,
greedy.
this is my deal, this is the way I want it. If you don't like it, tough shit, bye bye.
Yeah, that's true. New Masters of the Universe series coming.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Now, if you remember the
we're talking a film, eh?
We're talking about an anime cartoon series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be it's basically Kevin Smith and a whole team of writers have been brought in to do this. Yeah. It's going to be He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and basically it's going to be a kind of a whole new story arc and a continuation from like Eternia and He-Man.
Are we talking maybe in a couple of years it could be a film franchise after
potentially, yeah, because obviously it all comes down to what the interest is. Do you know? And if it proves pretty popular, then
it did in the 80s.
You never know. Do you know? And we're in this kick where everything's 80s now, isn't it? And I think everyone loves a bit of 80s.
Yeah, keep going back.
So. Yeah, so I'm interested to see that. That's going to be on Netflix. Like I say, Kevin Smith's directing it, I think, and writing it with a whole team of writers. We've got, I think, there's Mark Bernardin, which is his co-host on Fat Man on Batman as well.
To be honest, I don't think
I'd like to see a Thundercats. I'd like to see something done with Thundercats because that was pretty cool. Thundercats are ho! I'd like to see that. Been watching Preacher season 4 in progress. I think that's pretty good so far. You've not watched it. No. Preacher's pretty cool. I've been enjoying it, and I think this might be the last season as well. So I recommend that. Also heard. Go on.
I got into the Peaky Blinders a little bit now.
Well, yes, I was about to get to that.
All right.
Yeah,
didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'll get to that. It's on the agenda. Trust me.
Go for it.
Going quite through. So, have you heard Matrix 4 is going to be coming out?
Well, you know what? If it gets a bit more scientific in it, and try and answer some questions, that people, generally
the last
ask about
one kind of ruined it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Really. So I think
don't
want creator and all that. I like the idea that he was like this anomaly that could change the reality of things, and then it was like all trying to explain it.
Yeah. Right. How it stands today. I'd like to see how it would stand today.
Obviously, we're living in the age of the internet and stuff now as well, so it's like and everything's changed. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what their take is on it.
If you do it that way, I'd watch it. But if it's another fucking action flick, then I'll watch it when I come across it. That'd be the only time.
Quite interested because the Wazowski brothers did the film initially, then they both had sex changes.
Huh?
Yeah, so they did. They both had sex changes. They both became the Wazowski sisters.
Right.
Only one of the Wazowskis is returning to the franchise.
Right.
Keanu Reeves is set to return as well.
Oh, sweet.
So that's
getting a busy boy, him now.
He is. He's very popular at the moment. Is Keanu?
Yes. Yeah, good actor.
Keanu.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I do like this.
Then also we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is going to be a Disney Plus show. Ewan McGregor's going to be returning to the role as Obi-Wan Kenobi for this. So that's pretty interesting. Quite looking forward to this. And this is what I'm saying. Like Netflix should be worried, man, because like this Disney Plus thing coming out, it's like they've literally getting, these movie grade actors to perform in the shows, whereas it's like,
But don't you think that's down to Marvel?
Saying that though, Netflix don't do too bad. They get like Winona Ryder in Stranger Things, and they do have kind of good actors jumping on.
Yeah.
So,
but don't you think Marvel has a lot to answer to what's going to be coming more frequently the way they do movies?
How do you mean?
Well, there's different series for the Avengers. Then you've got different movies. And it sounds like they're doing exactly the same thing. And I think even Star Wars was probably the first one to do it by going
not by
back
a
and
long
forth.
way. Like having an interconnected universe where
But it's massive, and the amount of money that they're fucking making,
this
you know what I mean?
scale,
Yeah,
no,
this
there's
scale
never been anything like this.
But I think
this
it's set
like,
to be the future of how movies are going to be made.
I think in some ways, yeah. And I think with Marvel, no, I don't know, because I think Marvel have just hit the honeypot with this, and it's just happened to work for them. Whereas, because that's how comics worked anyway.
Yeah.
And, you'd read a comic and then you'd have an appearance from so-and-so, but then that led into a story arc for them. It's like...
Leprechauns next week.
You never know what's going to come in a comic, whereas, like, in a TV show, it's like you can hint that they're set in the same universe, but...
Yeah.
Bringing characters in, it's too much like hard
film.
work, isn't it? But... anyway, yeah, you were talking about Peaky Blinders earlier.
Yeah, man.
Well, it returns tomorrow.
Does it?
Yeah, tomorrow, BBC
Sweet.
One, I think. Yeah, so check that. That's one for your diary. A bit of Peaky.
I mean, Peaky Blinders.
I do like a bit of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
I got really hooked on it when it came out, and do you know what? I was writing my entertainment news, and I was like, when's Peaky Blinders out? Thought I'll mention it when it's closer to the time, because I thought it's going to be October or sometime around there.
Yeah.
And then I went past a billboard, and there was a big poster for Peaky Blinders up, and it said the 25th of 20. I think it actually might be tonight. I'm not 100%
Don't
sure.
say that.
If it's tonight or tomorrow night, one of them. It's this weekend anyway, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to catch it.
There's a bank holiday. It's a big weekend this weekend, mate.
It's this Saturday or Sunday. I'll have a Google for it in a moment.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, but that's basically the news in a nutshell, and entertainment news and a bit of NASA
I'm
news.
a squirrel in a nutshell. Let me out.
You fucking head case. So this week we've been asking about black holes, not necessarily black holes, wormholes. Wormholes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of stuff going on about wormholes. I mean, in terms of like theory, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I like time travel, as you know. Yeah. I like the whole concept of time travel.
Yeah.
Now, you could argue that wormholes were a form of time travel. Yeah. And you could argue that they were just a kind of space travel, in terms of getting from one point to one point or another point.
Yeah, but there's loads.
But isn't that still space and time? Like, isn't that still arriving at a place sooner than you should have arrived there?
Yeah, because you're messing with space and time. You're actually playing with the box around the universe.
You're thinking outside the box.
You're playing with it. You're trying to get outside. And there's actually, funny enough, there's something come out, I believe a couple of days ago, which was stating that they now believe that a black hole is there is no way you could time travel through it.
Oh no, yeah, and we'll get to that. I've got a big bit about that.
Right, okay.
I did a Twitter poll though the last couple of days, and we asked the Twitter world whether time travel would be possible via a wormhole, or would you need to use a different method? And if so, what would that be? So we had a bit of response.
Okay.
42% say yes, a wormhole is plausible.
Yes.
Another 42% say no, you'd need a flux capacitor.
No, I disagree with that.
Well, you'd need some sort of kind of... I'm going to take that as some sort of like time travel machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 17% say time travel would be possible, but using another method altogether.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking of particles and antiparticles, and how like space isn't space. Space is
Don't get too complex.
There's something in space. Wherever there's space, there's always something there. There's never such thing as empty space.
Yeah, of course. And we'll go. I think we're going to be going down the same lines a bit later on. But
okay.
So like we'll start off. What would you perceive a wormhole to look like? I'd say if you were to see a wormhole in real life, you would probably probably see sort of spherical round portal.
I think you have.
What?
I think you have seen one.
Have I?
Yeah.
Go on, explain.
Well, explain the pictures all across the net. The videos like all across the net of stuff. You remember that spiral one? You remember?
Yeah, but that's pre-recorded. It's not like a portal that I could jump through and find myself in another world. It's a window. Yeah, but it's like
I don't think we'll be able to get through it.
You could argue that a book was a window, like a window to another world, because you could get lost in the words and lost in the story and find yourself in a whole new realm, or like Lord of the Rings or whatever. And like you say, people do.
Yeah.
So on a metaphysical level, but we're talking about on a physical level where we could pass through that and find ourselves in another realm, another time, or another place.
Well, I remember a story years back around the early 90s about a fellow who went out jogging, and basically at one point he was jogging through the park. Next minute he was in Australia. Now,
he's obviously gone through some sort of time warp.
Because he phoned his wife, and like there was a big investigation about it. There was no way he could have got there, and especially within the time as well. Because he'd just left his house at like 9 o'clock, and then he's in Australia at like 1:30.
So say if you kind of think of a portal, like you say a spherical sort of window, right? You're running through the woods, and all of a sudden, terrain changes and everything around you is different.
Yeah.
Did you see that change, or was it instantaneous, or was it just a case of that if you were to turn around and look back, you'd see your original origin, the place where you started from? Like, would you be able to see where you've just come from through that portal?
Good question.
Or would it just be some sort of kind of like distorted?
My answer would be on how shocked you would be, how your brain would take it.
Well,
if your brain, if you like people forget things, through shock, and it's a case of if your brain believes that you could handle what it's going to show you, it's going to show you. If you can't, it's not going to show you.
It kind of like lock those memories up. Trying to spare you the pain and the anguish sort of thing. Totally. Like repressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I got touched by a vicar.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
It was the teacher.
And you just repress those memories,
Yeah, you know what I mean? So,
I never went to church, so don't,
but in the short term, I'd say, I think you'd be... No, I think because it's so fastly... They open up and shut so fast. The ones that...
do they open up and shut so fast?
Yes, they do.
Well, that could be down to one way of thinking, but if you look at kind of like string theory's way of thinking, string theory, it's like that suggests that these portals and these sort of wormholes are constantly open.
They're going through you all the time.
Yeah, so
every bit of
no, I mean, I'm talking about like on a level that when the Big Bang happened, right? So say all these strings that say they're not strings as in the sense that of string theory, but like say so these strings that are kind of like all wibbly wobbly and stuff like that around the Big Bang, but then that happens and they get kind of catapulted throughout.
Like needles in the sea.
Yeah, but they get catapulted throughout space.
Yeah.
But the ends end up at different reaches and different...
Without your control.
Yeah. So, but they're all over the cosmos, right?
Yeah.
So one point links to another point in space, but we've got no control over that.
Yeah.
And that's the point, isn't it? Because it's like, even if these things exist in nature, they're already just there. Yeah. And we've got no control over where that goes, or how, if it's any use to us. Do you know what I mean? So then it's like, we found one. It's no use to us. We can't. It doesn't take us anywhere that we really want to go. On to the next one. Let's try and find another one. And then it's like a case of trying to find something that's actually worth our time. And why was it worth our time? So anyway, we can argue this. Are wormholes even real?
Yes.
Physics and mathematics say it's plausible.
Proven.
And proven.
2012, NASA proved that basically wormholes between us and the sun have opened up, but they open up fast and shut. They actually sent satellites up. Like I said, I've said a few times about in the 1940s where they believe that from the solar winds to our magnetic force on our planet, in between, sets these wormholes up, basically.
Okay.
And if you want to check it out, you can go to the NASA website.
Well,
and
just going back to a previous conspiracy as well, though, Stargates.
yeah,
Now, we've talked about Stargates and how kind of
Yeah.
there was supposed to be one in the Middle East that was kind of known about by the English government, the US government. So, you know,
a little place called Iraq.
if string theory is correct and these wormhole portal entrances and exits could be anywhere, then they could be here. There could be one here. Who knows?
There's a problem.
What?
Right. Well, we're moving at such a pace.
Yeah, but everybody's moving.
Yeah, exactly. So with these, if there is one point at one place and one point at another, would you reckon that they'd be moving exactly the same as you?
No, not at all.
Exactly. So after a time away, it's going to move away from you, or it's going to move towards you.
Well, it depends. It depends because it,
Well, yeah.
it could be at such far distances across the cosmos.
So then, is it much? Is it going to be that much useful?
Well, that's what for traversing large distances. Yeah. Like, so, well, there's a lot of questions you got to ask anyway when it comes to talking, even discussing wormholes. How do they work? Where do they lead?
Yeah.
Can we use them to move from one point to another, rather in time or in space? Where can we find them? So for years we've had a pretty simplistic view of the universe, and you know how the universe is basically a flat plateau. Yeah. And you know, pretty wooden, pretty wooden sort of like structure where everything's sort of, you know, fixed. Yeah. Where until the theory of relativity, when Einstein came about and he started saying, you know, we've all seen this sort of like cloth experiment, where they tighten up a cloth and then they start putting balls on the cloth.
Yeah, which represents the gravity.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't just represent gravity, does it? Right, no. Because it also represents, like, obviously how space and time would curve around those objects, as well as the conditions in space around those objects would be different to the conditions further out in space where there was no object or mass. Yeah. So, you in that bloody flask.
Oh, God, tonight.
I know, fucking hell, he does it so slow as well. So, working...
Small gap.
Working together, they, you know, like, you can... Time and space actually work together.
Yeah.
They don't get... It's not two different things.
There's still elements that are missing, I believe, though.
Or, you know, the fact that they coexist, you know, we talk about the sheet experiment and it says that objects on the sheet create special disturbances, meaning that space and time behave differently. Yeah. So, there's also a case that, you know, these, when you think about how it warps it, the theory's taken, like, obviously the old hard model of the universe, and it's made it more flexible and open to, you know, basically bended and stretched, which makes wormholes more plausible of an idea. Yeah. And it also comes, basically, if you could bend space, then a wormhole certainly seems to be plausible, because obviously if you could, you know, you take a piece of paper, is that experiment where if you take a piece of paper and you say you want to get from one point of the paper to the other paper covering the least distance possible, so it'd be like if you draw a line with a pencil, it'd be the whole length of the paper. Yeah. Whereas if you fold the paper and just poke a hole through it, then you've created a wormhole. You've created a path from one end of the paper to the other with the least amount of travelling. Yeah, but they also reckon that they're one ways. They're not both ways. They go one way. Oh yeah, definitely. But this is it. There's a couple of different types of wormholes. Now, the ones you're talking about, it's more like the Enistein Rosen bridge, where it's a one-way ticket. Yeah, basically. I think we'll get to that in a second. So, what we need to make sure, though, obviously, if we were trying as a species to use these things to traverse, we need to make we need to make sure that they were going to a place we wanted to go. First off, right?
So we've got to take control of it.
Would they be safe for human travel?
Spaghettified.
Right. Finding them in nature. So, like, obviously, we'd have to kind of rather find them in nature.
I think we will.
Or we need to create them ourselves, right?
I think we may be able to create them in the future, but I think we can find them in nature.
But there's also been lots of different kind of stories over the years about finding time skips, time warps, losses of time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's plenty of scope on Earth to think that there might actually be something to it, and they could find it. Because I think we were talking about a guy who was testing with a pretty simple piece of apparatus, and he was travelling outside of Area 51, and he was coming back into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And basically, the guy who invented this machine, he said, all it is an atomic clock, and if the only time you'll get a reading is if something's wrong, because it should never go off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if time's time and time's a constant, then this clock
then
will always be at the preset.
Yeah.
So if it does go off, then you know that there's an anomaly in time, space-time.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, you know, people always talk about kind of Area 51 of having this sort of, you know, people lose time around there when they have UFO encounters.
Yeah.
So we thought, I'm going Area 51, I'll take it with me. Got nothing, right? But when he was travelling back, he got a blip, yeah? And it was just outside of Las Vegas or somewhere daft, yeah.
You know what? I think that there's a big possibility. I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. I think there's a big possibility that, you know, the stories of angels and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Now, I think near enough everyone has been taken at one point or another.
Touched by an angel.
Yeah. I think at one point or another, everyone has been taken.
Taken?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. I've never been taken, not by my knowledge.
Yeah, but you can't tell if your timeline is, and you haven't noticed, or even your brain has decided not to tell you because it's too frightening. Or
what happens if, you know, you've actually been taken, but you were taken in a previous life, so you've already been done? You don't really need taken again.
No, because it's not necessarily for the soul, but it's necessarily for, like we were talking before about being like cattle.
Oh, right. Know. Yeah. So we need like inoculations or something.
Yeah, you know, there's some kind
something
of
something that our doctors just ain't giving us.
Yeah. Well, there's that much fucking secret. It's not beyond possibility.
Well, it's all theories, isn't it?
There is. It's only a theory.
And this is the thing about like tonight's topic. Quite a lot of it's theory, but at the moment, you know, as theories go, you know, and this combined with Einstein's theory of relativity, means that wormholes could be possible.
And the MMS satellite, that's what they're actually looking at it since 2015.
Well, you were talking earlier about like one-way wormholes,
yeah.
So, like, this is one interpretation of a wormhole, which is the Enistein Rosen bridge. You might have heard about it on 4.
Yeah,
because that's obviously how they, you know, they go on about it. It's like, it's the Bifrost, but like they call it the Enistein Rosen bridge. First described as a portal, the Einstein Rosen bridge. Goes on to say that, you know, like black holes are a doorway to another dimensional or a parallel universe. Mm-hmm. So think of it this way. We've talked about, you know, the sheet where the objects of mass affects and space can affect space-time. So think of a planet being condensed, right?
Yeah.
And as it gets condensed more and more...
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Right, then, like, it compresses and the planet... Yeah, well, the planet... The object, say the planet, will condense and compress.
Yeah.
And then space-time would curve around it.
Yeah.
But it'd curve around it so much and get, like, more kind of, like, more pressure.
Yeah.
That it would just collapse on itself. Yeah. And becomes a black hole.
Yeah.
Right? And then, if it forms an event horizon, that's when things basically get pulled in.
Yeah, and you can't get back out.
You can't get back out, yeah. So they say that once you've been pulled in, or once an object's been pulled in, it just gets trapped in a singularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Do you know what singularity mean?
It's just nothing. It's literally like a point of nothingness.
Don't know. Actually, don't know what it is.
Well,
they need because they use it quite a bit actually on different things.
Well,
as far as
there
they
is
know
another
about it.
theory on it that says that that's not the case, and that it could be a fact that on
Hawkins
the other
one?
side, I think it might be, but on the other side there's a mirror universe, like the Upside Down out of Stranger Things, where. Like obviously, like this one in Red Dwarf, where they'd had the backwards world, where it was literally the same as what we've got, but all running backwards. Yeah. So instead of having like time
going forwards, time's going backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So whereas our black hole would suck in matter, theirs would spew out matter. Yeah.
I'm thinking more and more that we're in a black hole.
We call ours a black hole, whereas that would be a white hole.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, anyway, by all accounts, you can't cross an Enistein Rosen bridge because it kind of goes kind of too narrow in the middle.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to.
So much.
Well, this is what actually I was thinking this. Yeah, right. Because do you know when people talk about teleportation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
That's
idea
individual.
of exactly, yeah, right. So if I want to be teleported from point A to point B, right. In the scientific understanding of teleportation, then I need to be broken down into in basically you need to destroy
individual
me,
atoms.
and then recreate me on the other side. Yeah. So would that be the same sort of thinking going through a wormhole or a portal? Would I have been destroyed and then recreated, or would I be the same physical being that I were when I wanted?
I was going to say this because you brought this up once before on time travelling, and I think you're right because it depends on how it gets transferred. Because if the actual individual atom gets changed to somewhere else where it's supposed to be, then it's you. But if it's copying it and sending it over somewhere else, then it's not you. It's then it becomes a clone of you.
Yeah, but is it? But because it's me in every way. Do you know?
Yeah,
especially on a teleportation level, and that's it. I think teleportation, they could probably invent it, but on an ethical...
They've been trying for years,
Yeah, but no, but is it the fact that they don't do it because it's unethical, or do they not do it because they can't?
They can't do living things. That's the problem at the moment.
Well, the string theory wormhole theory, I suppose, is like traversable wormholes. Yeah. Due to the nature of string theory, we might be able to find wormholes just lying about in nature.
Got proof.
So due to random stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and obviously I'm not like an expert on this sort of stuff, but like, cosmic strings were kind of tiny wee stringy type thingy-mabobs.
Yeah, which vibrate differently, and that's why everything.
Well, like I think I explained it earlier, didn't I? Where it was kind of like it was that they were at the point of the Big Bang, and then when the Big Bang happened, they were kind of flung out, but like the ends were kind of sent into different locations. Yeah, and you could potentially use those, but it's then you start getting into the quantum realm sort of argument because, okay. So if we wanted to traverse through a wormhole, right? Now we're arguing that a black hole is a potential wormhole. Yeah. So we go through a black hole not knowing where we're going to end up. Yeah. But potentially that wormhole's too big for us to travel through and the gravity would just crush us. Yeah. Right? So therefore we need a more sizable wormhole to travel through, right? So we're already slimming down our options, right? So we need to find a human-sized wormhole, right? So then the other options are, well, smaller wormholes, and the chances of there being smaller wormholes actively in nature is quite high because I was talking to Oggy, a friend of ours, yesterday, and saying there's that whole pool ball analogy where you say, oh well, if you shrunk the Earth down to the size of a billiard ball or a pool ball, then it'd be smooth. Right, but on the opposite hand, if you were to kind of get that a normal pool ball and enlarge it to the size of a planet, there'd be caverns and crevices and mountain ranges and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
So you think, well, if you can go down to a subatomic level, then there'd be more creases and folds and like, you know, little places
where you could...
for kind of little wormholes to exist, where, like, you know, time itself is being folded on itself and it has little creases and folds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you might be able to access these wormholes, and then bringing us down to that subatomic level, like where we would be able to use that without feeling gravitational sort of consequences as well. You know, maybe that would be the way to go. But then obviously it's like, how do you access that? And then you've got like the problem of traversing it. Now, I think you can say obviously this is kind of been in the films recently with Endgame, about time traveling using the quantum realm.
But the problem with the quantum realm,
quantum realm
is that it is everything we know about is out of kilter. Everything you
couldn't
think is
navigate it.
That's their problem at the minute. They can only go and do certain things because of the amount of mess that's around. What's around is wrong in the quantum realm.
Say it again.
Quantum realm.
Say it again.
Quantum realm.
You can't say it.
Quantum realm.
The quantum realm.
The quantum realm.
Well, you should have heard him try and say Spotify the other day.
Spotify.
It was Spotify.
Spotify's.
Yeah, fucking hell. Anyway, I think you'd need some sort of like time navigation, satellite navigation software or gadget.
How are you going to do it unless you've got a crosshair at least once?
And then you've got the other main scientific sort of fucking thing that's going to gazump you. The fact that you need to shrink down to a subatomic level. We haven't got Pym particles. We're not Ant-Man.
Not yet.
So,
as far as we know anyway.
Now, remember that film Inner Space?
Yep.
You see, that was interesting because obviously 80s film.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, and then Bill and Frank Eat Pop Culture brought it up and said when we was talking about wormholes and stuff, and they said like Inner Space, and I think that's what they were getting at in terms of like going subatomic.
Yeah.
That you could kind of access like areas that we can't perceive in our sort of realm of reality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's just such a mess down there of like stuff that's supposed to be working like gravity and stuff. It just doesn't work down there at all. But scientists are getting there and trying to get closer and closer to finding out the answers. But like, how far are they willing to go to put us in danger?
Yeah.
Because don't forget, he was talking about wormholes at CERN, like when it set off for the second time. And now there's more power getting thrown into it, and even more power.
And as well, I think the possibility that they exist, or the possibility we could make one, is quite probable, right? But
it's high now since 2012.
You've got too many variables now, right? Because obviously it's got to be the size that we can traverse, right? It's also not allowed to have an event horizon, right? It needs to be going to a place that we want it to go to, It's like it's too unpredictable to even think it's worth looking into.
Well, do you know they've actually got a name?
Go on.
They've actually got a name. They're called X points, or electrical diffusion regenerator.
Well, you brought this up before. Well, what's that? So what's that? Is something that actually creates black holes or wormholes?
Well, no, it's basically with the sun throwing its solar winds connected to our magnetic field around the Earth. At certain points, it actually creates wormholes, but they open so fast, and so about 12 times a day, they reckon. About 12 times. There was the count I heard, there was about 4 that are saying. Now, this also connects with stuff with you remember loads of pictures coming out about light, big light coming from the sky.
Big light come from sky.
You know, like
Me-bang drum.
4. You know, like when he's landing.
Yeah, like when he lands. Like the Enistein Rosen
Yeah.
bridge. That's what they say. It was like.
Well,
they call it the Bifrost, but like when he lands, they're like, "Oh my shit! It's an Enistein Rosen bridge, motherfucker."
Well, there's actually loads of pictures of that, and that could be an answer to that. And also, there has been pictures and video of them opening up with objects going in and out in space.
Oh yeah, I've seen loads of videos like that, but then you've got to wonder how many of them are hoaxes or what's legit.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to take all of it with a grain of salt, really, haven't you? So
well, there's a lot of lies going around at the minute. It's a big argument with.
In terms of creating your own, though. Yeah, right. If create your own, make your own.
I wish you could.
Yeah, black hole, right? Or even trying to find one, right? How would you kind of keep it open? Do you know what I mean? If it was kind of if they just appear and disappear, or if you were able to locate one that was worthwhile, yeah, and then you needed to keep it open.
knows how to do it.
So I found this bit of information where they were saying that like one of the one useful aspect would be able to kind of keep it open, keep it like a time hole, wormhole, whatever open. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it earlier, like exotic matter.
Yeah.
But since no matter how we use or kind of even make a wormhole, gravity will always try and force it closed.
Yeah.
So some think exotic matter might have the key to opening and keeping a wormhole open,
which we can get.
Some scientists even think that like the vacuum of space could contain this exotic matter material
because of particles and antiparticles.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really kind of looked into exotic matter before.
Well, this is to do with all the where empty space isn't empty. So because there's particles and antiparticles, and what they do is they come apart and then they go together and disappear.
Yeah. So it's something about using negative mass.
Yeah, and
making it easy for us to manipulate time and space as we see fit.
Yeah, yeah.
But
if we've got the right stuff.
But then when you start saying, "Oh, we're going to manipulate time wherever we see fit," that's when you start getting into alternate timelines and paradoxes, and that's a whole new fucking subject. So we'll stick with wormholes for the time being.
If you want to find a wormhole, Jack Stotter is the one to go and see, because he's the one who actually went to NASA and found where these wormholes are on just outside our Earth.
So like I say, on paper and theory, wormholes are fact.
Yeah.
Can even be proven by by science and all that.
MMS satellite.
But since no one has actually ever discovered one, well, you can make your own mind up about that one.
Because the big hush with all the information coming from that satellite.
Got a couple of little interesting little stories that kind of go along with it, that can kind of make you think about whether these do exist or not.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the story about the man who was doing a bit of work underneath his cupboard, under his kitchen sink, and he crawled through because he saw a light, and then when he appeared or emerged on the other side of the cupboard, he met a bloke, and it was him from the future.
What?
Yeah. This is a legit story. You can Google it, right? So the guy crawls through his kitchen sink cupboard, and when he emerges out the other side, he's in a park with a man who is himself 20 years in the future. Same tattoo, same scars, same guy, but like older.
Was there a line of which in a wardrobe?
He had his phone with him, and he took a picture. He's got a picture of him with himself.
Yes, I remember this. Yes.
So was that a wormhole? Do you think he crawled through? Sounds like it.
Well, it sounds like a time hole, not a wormhole.
Time hole? Well, what would you consider a wormhole to not be a time hole?
Yeah, it'd be different, because a wormhole will be able to take you through one side of space to the other within a matter of seconds.
But like you say, I mean, it's like
time hole takes you through the timeline.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
The universe.
But it also asks a lot more questions, because obviously that was specifically unique to that fella.
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't like he just crawled through a tunnel and found a random person. He crawled through a tunnel and met himself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's rather that happened, so he remembered it happened and made sure he was in that park on that same day because he knew that he was going to meet himself from the past because it's already happened to him, or it was just random happenstance.
Yeah, he can't have known in the... Well, then again, yeah.
Well, no,
yeah,
because the younger one's already experienced it. He grows up to become the older one who goes to the park on the day that he was supposed to.
Then he's changing the timeline then.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that you get into paradoxes and stuff where... So, anyway, we've got John Titor and John Titor 2, who obviously time travellers who basically came out of nowhere with... They used a time traveling device, a time machine.
Yes.
Great story. I think we've
even
covered
online,
it.
isn't it? The time machine. There.
Yeah. He brought out all the evidence,
details out and stuff. Yeah.
Very interesting story. If you've not checked it out,
one of the most convincing.
We've done an episode on it. It was a good episode as well.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of different methods. There's been a lot of stories on lost time. Covered a couple of those in the show.
Yeah.
So, do you think if you did time travel via portal, like I said earlier, would you kind of... Yeah, so that's just a question that I put at the end, which we've already covered. It was would you be kind of broke down and rebuilt, or would you just be like a Rick and Morty style, fucking jump through a portal?
Like I said, it depends. It depends if... It depends how you get from one place. So if it ends up being a copy, then no. If it ends up being the actual original particle, then yeah. That's
well, you don't know, because like you say, it's
you'll
like
never know until you try it.
You mentioned it before. You said you get spaghettied.
Yeah, you get spaghettified, yeah, man.
Spaghettified.
And that's the official name for it as well.
Fucking
where
hell.
you get stretched. It's like
well, there
being
you
in
go,
a wormhole.
Man. It's not going to be a pleasant experience, is it?
Hole. Well, no. But I'm getting more and more convinced that we're in a black hole getting pulled in. We're not
already?
Yeah, we're not beyond the event horizon yet, but yeah. I'm getting more and more convinced of that every time I go back looking into science.
Fair enough.
Things.
Well, I enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm always down for a bit of time travel talk anyway.
Yeah, we know that.
I think, you know what, doing these episodes as well, it's kind of like talking about it and kind of going through it.
Yeah.
It's helping my understanding of physics quite a lot as well. In terms of
it's
like,
good to go through it, man.
It's nice to kind of like, refresh it and kind of go over it again.
Yeah.
So, hope you enjoyed it, and if you understood, if you got any questions or anything like that, just get in touch.
Yeah, Twitter, man.
Got a ton of shout-outs this week, again.
Yeah.
So thank you for getting in touch, and we always love giving you a shout out.
Yeah.
As always, say if you were interested, you want us to plug your show or project or just have a shout out, then that's perfectly reasonable.
Give you a shout out, no
perfectly reasonable. So we want to give a big shout out to EJ. She's a Lancashire lass. She's been listening, subscribed recently. So welcome, new listener. Big shout out to Mr. Crabtree.
Mr. Crabtree, yeah, man.
Super awesome fan.
Yeah,
always
you,
happy to know that you've been listening on a week.
We're doing good when the Crabtree's listening.
Totally. The Unexceptionals podcast. They're a couple of UK podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome content. What a big shout out to the Harper Club podcast.
Harper Club,
or is it the Hara Club podcast? A big shout out to Randomosity. Who's been random. I know, yeah, totally random. Been loving all our content, loads of likes, retweets, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Podcast HQ. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Bill and Frank, Eat Pop Culture, as well as Deep in History podcast. I want to give a big shout out this week as well to Terry Christian. He's been very active on Twitter this week.
Has he?
Yeah, he's very big into his politics stuff. Yeah, Terry, Terry is. The Shart Select podcast, Killer Rabbit podcast, and everyone in the Odd Pod Squad, everyone on Twitter we talk to, Not So Nice Minnesota, Tennish podcast, and everyone else. Yeah. Any shout outs you want? Oh, big shout out to Agent Coulson, because I keep forgetting him. And since he's had his baby, it's like I keep forgetting about Mr. Agent Coulson. It would be nice to have a bit of input back on the show again now.
Yeah.
Now you're getting settled.
Yeah.
So
and a big shout out to Mad Mike as well. He copped an injury the other week. He ended up going to hospital. Yeah, man.
He copped himself a bad one.
Yeah, I think his wife's been whipping him a bit.
Oh, I tell you what, actually, Mr. Coulson could ring up next week if he wants, because, like, obviously we've still got the kit for another week or two. So, like, if he wants to ring up rather than come down, he could have a convo with us. So, if we could maybe set that up for next time, see what we can do. Mr. Coulson, a long time coming. So so if you want to get in touch with us, did you have any shout outs?
I just done it. That's it.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you want to get in touch with us and talk about anything we've discussed on the show, you can always do that by email, neverstraightanswer@gmail.com.
Yes,
you can get us on Twitter, NASA_never.
All the time.
You can go to Instagram and check out our pretty pictures at Never Straight Answer. Get me personally on Gaz Duncan on Twitter and Instagram. You can't get Taylor on anything because he doesn't use social media.
Sucker.
As always, I encourage you to follow him around the supermarket, swimming pool, put stuff in his basket.
Twitter thing go off.
Go on, your Twitter poll said that 100% of people said you were to join Twitter. So get on Twitter and join me, because I need support as well. I need somebody to have my back on Twitter and kind of like go, oh yeah, it's good, tweet that, I'll retweet that, Gaz. Do you know what I mean? Because it's good.
Okay, well, if that's what the viewers want.
And 100% of people said, and I'm not even joking, that I'll find the poll to prove it.
Talk to me.
But it was 100% of people said yes, Taylor should come on Twitter.
Okay.
And he'd be very welcomed.
Okay, thank you.
I've got you an avatar. You could use your avatar, because I made you an avatar for
you made me one?
Yeah,
that's nice.
I made you an avatar for the rebranding. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. We had a rebranding as well. If you like that, go on Twitter, have a look. We've got like our own little caricature mug photos on there, so check us out.
Yeah,
it looks good actually, I think. But yeah, he's got this own little avatar. So if you want to use your avatar face, you don't even have to put your own face up, but you could be, still. And because you've got that avatar face, it's associated with the podcast anyway. So
wow, yeah,
you know what I mean. You can email me and make you a banner, Taylor's page. Chat to Taylor about anything. Yeah, well, we'll get that set up.
Yeah, we'll sort that out. All right, if they want it.
The Twitter community is spoken.
I'm obliged. I did say I would do it, so...
Well, there you go. Well, if you want to treat yourself to a nice bit of Never a Straight Answer merch, you can get over to Dizzy Jam and get yourself a T-shirt or a mug or something special. It's getting on in the year now as well, so you want to start thinking about getting Christmas presents
Christmas presents for your family and friends.
Yeah, totally. And they'll totally love one of our bits of shit. Yeah. So treat it. What else? If you subscribe to us, that'd be beautiful. You leave us a rating or a review.
Much appreciate that. You get extras with that as well.
Yeah, because we it helps us a lot, and obviously helps us get like more prominently placed on the web pages and stuff. If you want to help us out and try and get us this equipment, so we don't have to go back to the old shitty way of recording the podcast, that'd be amazing. So and plus we've been having a lot of fun with this as well. Yeah. So just generally. So
and we could get more into it, more phone calls, and
we've got a lot of ideas as well, which we could do if we had this. So every little helps. So don't think that thinking, well, I can't help because I can't buy him a mixer.
And nothing goes towards
stick
either.
a quid
it
in
goes
it.
Literally,
it's been in the pot for ages. So anyone who has put in since, it's still sat there. We've never touched it.
Nice one, Swoosh.
Cheers, Swoosh. He's been he's been our financial bankroller since day one, virtually. So he's
not that bad, apart from eating like veggie burgers. What the?
Fuck? Well, no. Each to your own.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I said this, didn't I? I said, obviously since they said stop eating meat, I've been like, fuck you, I want to eat more meat. Like, and I know that's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's the anarchist in me.
Well, I think
you tell me not to do something, and I'm going to go and want to do it.
Well, yeah, but I think he needs to do a bit more swimming and less on the burgers as well. To be honest, he's
I think he's
putting on a little
going
poundage, just
to punch you one day.
He loves me, really.
If you want to subscribe to us, by the way, you can get us on all the podcast platforms, iTunes, on Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Castbox, and many, many more. Wherever you get your podcast fix, we're sure to be there. So just give us a search. And that's about it. Am I missing anything?
Fingers, toes, no.
Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch.
That's the one.
Yeah. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're all right.
Right, well, we're out of here then. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Oh, daft. Yeah.
Are you a fat cunt because of diabetes? Then you need to read Diabetes Weekly, the subscription magazine that you can pick up whilst picking up your prescription. Part 1, only $1.99, and includes a packet of free jelly babies. Out now.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.